The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight on Beyond the Headlines, the PLP getting into gear, election gear, at a recent meeting in Pinewood. Many say Prime Minister Davis seems to have gotten a second win. We take a look at that. Meanwhile, that political ad in the Tribune, you all remember that, still making the rounds and discussion. Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper says, oh, no reason for fear. Jo Beth Colby Davis, too, saying she had nothing to do with it and she supports the leadership now in place in the Progressive Liberal Party. And a little bit later, many Bahamians are applauding President Trump on perhaps his biggest executive order as far as they're concerned. We'll tell you what that is, and you'll meet them and hear more about it coming up. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, the political machinery is in motion. The Progressive Liberal Party hosting a number of sort of constituency meetings in recent time. The most recent just a couple evenings ago, where hundreds gathered to hear from party leader and also to see what the way forward looks like for the Progressive Liberal Party. Jose Etienne has the story, and then we'll come back and discuss.
Lots of fanfare and excitement last night as Prime Minister Philip Davis made his grand entrance at the Progressive Liberal Party's branch meeting in the Pinewood constituency.
I get to see with my own eyes who looking battle ready.
Davis, the headliner of the event, was joined by several cabinet ministers, members of parliament, and senators. Party supporters erupted in cheers as their leader took to the stage to deliver a series of political blows aimed at the opposition Free National Movement.
We build. They complain. We build. They tear down. We build. They stop, review, and cancel.
Davis didn't hold back, taking direct aim at FNM leader Michael Pintard, mocking his leadership and political strategy.
One of my cousins decided she was going to tease me. I just finished watching the leader of the opposition on TV. Man, and he was talking real pretty. I say, really? I said, well, what'd he say? I have no idea.
The Prime Minister also poked fun at former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who recently hinted at his desire to run on the FNM's ticket in the next general election, despite no confirmation from his party amid apparent tension with Pintard.
Minnis said nobody tapped him on the shoulder. Well, PLPs, let me tell you, he might be waiting a long time for that tap. Because it looks like they are tapping everybody except him.
Davis went further, jesting about what he says appears to be Minnis being sidelined by his own party.
Now you mean to tell me that Minnis, who was Prime Minister just a few years ago, now needs to sit in the class to learn how to run?
Beyond individual jabs, the Prime Minister criticized the FNM as a party he claims is beholden to elites. He accused the opposition of ignoring the impact of monopolies that he says are making life harder for Bahamians.
You never hear people out of those other fellas about the monopolies in this country. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. If you want prices to come down, then we should all be encouraging more competition.
After dishing out his criticisms, Davis turned his attention to his own party. He called on the PLP to stay united as they set their sights on securing another victory in the 2026 general election. But that call for unity comes amid signs of tension within the PLP. A political ad in a local newspaper recently sparked buzz, featuring Energy Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis seemingly overshadowing Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper. The ad appeared to be a push for her to replace him.
They will press hard to make any challenges or discord that we may have worse. Yes. So we have to be careful about our differences and problems.
As the 2026 election looms, both major parties seem to have their share of challenges ahead. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Well, both the parties, and this is why we are getting started in this political game. We know it's political season, so here on Beyond the Headlines and Eyewitness News, we are certainly, of course, keeping you tuned in and taking you along for the ride, because it's going to be a lengthy ride. You see what's happening already? And listen, it's just the beginning of 2025. Of course, both parties, the PLP and the FNM, have a lot of work to do. We understand that on Monday evening, I believe it is, that FNM leader Michael Pintard will too be speaking at a constituency event. And we will, of course, we'll come and talk about that afterwards and give analysis. But first, let's dissect some of what Prime Minister Davis, and I'll tell you, he looked like he confident about something. Did he clean house and stand on business the way he alluded to much of 2024 when he told them, get it together or else? There's so many other meetings. Remember that Come to Jesus moment, our meeting that weekend in Bimini? So what is it that Prime Minister Davis seems to be feeling just a little, second wind, like his chest is up just a little bit? So we're going to talk about it. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Beyond the Headlines contributor Ellington Ferguson. Ellington, good evening to you. Good to have you here.
Good evening, Shanique. It's good to be here once again. Good evening, Bahamas.
This is a handful of meetings now that the PLP has had, constituency meetings, they call them. Prime Minister Davis has also attended them. He's been the keynote speaker. He said just 2 nights ago, he said, listen, I am kind of moving about to see who's battle ready. Let's start with him. In your opinion, right now, on the 23rd day of January, is Philip Brave Davis showing up as battle ready?
Shanique, absolutely. Philip Brave Davis is showing up battle ready. He's heard sail. The engine of the train has been cranked. He's been revving up this engine, and I saw Philip Brave Davis in Pinewood the other night, that clip that you just showed. He's enthused, he's excited, he's motivated, and he's motivating his base. And he's bringing it. He's absolutely ready, pulling his people together. And so you're going to see that level of energy from Philip Brave Davis throughout the rest of this year in everything that he do. I think you're going to see a lot of him moving around to these various branch meetings. You're going to see him doing some more community things, even around the family islands of the Bahamas. You're going to see more of Philip Davis than I think you anticipated for the rest of 2025.
Well, it's going to be quite interesting. Again, of course, we promise to take you along and to be very fair and balanced in our analysis and our assessments and opinions and perspectives as well as we move forward for what the Bahamian people need to see, need to hear, and need to even be happening now as this administration continues to move forward as well. Who else do you think, if you were to think of perhaps 2, 3 members of parliament now within this administration who are battle ready, who have not forgotten the Bahamian people and now just trying to make up, who would they be? Who comes to mind? Right
away, one of the persons that comes to mind when you talk constituency, I'm not talking what has happened in their government portfolio. When you talk constituency, one of the persons that I think is definitely ready is JoBeth Colby-Davis and Elizabeth.
Look at you, you went at a woman who listen, she is scandal ridden, eh?
Regardless of what's happening, be it ministry, her portfolio, with her colleagues, that woman never left her constituency. That member of parliament worked that constituency. She's been able to galvanize greater support in constituency. She's always on the ground. There's always something going on in Lizzie. They've coined the phrase busy in Lizzie, and they really have been living up to that. So I've got to give it up to her. That's one person. If you're going to send anybody in Lizzie, they've got to go right. They can't come in Lizzie half-stepping. JoBeth Colby has Lizzie on lock. And so that is one of the persons within the Progressive Liberal Party that I would say is battle ready, right now from day one.
Well, that's interesting to hear. I mean, of course, as we move along, we're going to go in more in depth about what all of them are doing.
And you asked me for two.
I'm asking you for two, but I just want to just kind of sort of conclude with her. I'm going to be interested in hearing what she's been doing, what changes she's made, how she's made life better for the people of Elizabeth, because that's quite important. Hearing you say this, it makes me now keen to know what she's actually been doing. That's one person I've not seen much. Others kind of push their content out there to make you see them. I've not seen a lot of her pushing it out there, but obviously, as you said, she's been busy. So who else comes to mind?
And I got to come all the way southwest on the Golden Gates, Pia Glover Road. Stellar job in Golden Gates.
I've heard about her. I've heard.
She's really been always in touch with her constituents, always doing things, always visible. And she's been doing
a good team, a good team around her.
And she has a team around her that works, and the constituency knows the team. They know who to reach out to, and has never complained about not being able to reach her. And she's done some monumental things in Golden Gates.
Okay. Any other person comes to mind? Any other member of parliament?
Ben in Grantstown is looking good for...
He's battle ready?
Yes, I think he's battle ready.
I've not heard. I tell you, listen.
In the absence of a wave, I think Wade Watson has really been deliberate.
Okay.
He's been very active. He's done some monumental things. I know last year he started something to mirror. He talked about the islands having their homecoming and back to regatta. He started a biannual homecoming sort of thing back in this constituency. And so I've been watching him, I've been observing him, and he's been doing a phenomenal job in being in Grantstown. Okay. So I think he's battle ready.
Okay, so there you have it. Ellington, according to Ellington now, he's named 3 members of parliament who are battle ready just based on their performance and their constituencies. Of course, listen, we have much more time to dissect each of them and many others, of course. But hey, they were ready at the top of mind. You put it out there.
Right away.
This was not rehearsed. I did not tell him what I was going to ask. We just did. So that's truly how he feels. Now, how do you feel, though, about this distraction that the PLP does not need in its... Now, the Prime Minister has spoken to it. He's kind of saying, hey, listen, back up on that. This stuff, I for Chester. We now hear that Deputy Prime Minister, Deputy Leader Chester Cooper has now spoken out, and JoBeth Colby-Davis has spoken out. But first, let's hear from Chester Cooper on this big ad, I mean huge, full-page ad that says there's trouble in the camp in that deputy leader position in the PLP.
A full-page advertisement in today's Tribune has ignited discussions across the political landscape. The ad, titled, open quote, JoBeth for Deputy, close quote, has raised speculation about whether the Minister of Energy and Transport could be positioned as the next deputy leader of the governing Progressive Liberal Party. But where does that leave current deputy leader Chester Cooper? Cooper was quick to shut down the speculation today, telling reporters he isn't moved by the advertisement.
So there's no concern for you?
Absolutely none.
For many, the ad also begs the question, who is behind this attempt to stir political controversy? PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell concluded the ad is nothing more than, open quote, political mischief by the F&M, close quote, and criticized the Tribune for being, open quote, unethical, close quote, in publishing it. But the opposition's chairman, Dr. Dwayne Sands, strongly denied the claims, stressing that the F&M's hands are clean.
We have no idea who put the ad in the paper. It is certainly not anything that we would have arranged.
Sands added that the ad highlights what he sees as unrest within the PLP.
That said, it speaks to the level of chaos and infighting within the Progressive Liberal Party.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Philip Davis took to his X account to clear the air, writing, open quote, the Deputy Prime Minister continues to have my full confidence and support as the Deputy Prime Minister and as the Deputy Leader of our party. The Minister of Energy and Transport is doing excellent work in her ministry, driving forward our country's first nationwide comprehensive energy reforms to bring down electricity prices and strengthen our grid for reliability and resilience. Close quote. Cooper echoed the Prime Minister's confidence, telling reporters he remains focused on the party's agenda and not on political propaganda.
We've laid out a plan and our blueprint for change. We have 2 more years to go, and I will be resolutely focused on the work that the Bahamian people and the Progressive Liberal Party has asked me to perform on their behalf.
As for the opposition,
Why they won't call our name is beyond me. But, I got some popcorn, and I'm smiling and laughing and watching this all play out.
Eyewitness News understands that the ad's publication came with a hefty price tag, $900. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Really, I thought a full page ad, and the back page of that was so much more. So Linton, that's not a lot. Anybody could have just go and be mischievous.
Yeah,
now, of course, you heard the deputy leader, Chester Cooper, says he's not bothered. They all are sort of just putting it to political mischief and blaming the F&M. You all saw F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands say, excuse me, leave our name out this, but you ain't think we got enough to deal with? Well, here's what F&M leader Michael Pintard is saying. He says, listen, it's a clear indication that the PLP is in disarray, and he said that Prime Minister Davis is not able to properly manage his campaign, again, denying, his cabinet, that Prime Minister Davis is not properly able to manage his cabinet. He says the F&M had nothing to do with it. I firmly believe it's political mischief. Jo Beth Colby Davis to another media spoke and said, listen, she supports the leadership. The leader, the deputy leader, the PLP is focused and staying and remaining focused on what it is it was elected to do, even as in the run-up to the election, and that's how it's going to remain.
Well, again, I heard Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper that spoke to it, and obviously you heard Prime Minister Davis that gave him his support, which is good. I think this something that is brewing is in-house, and even if it was the Free National Movement that put that out there for political mischief, they capitalize on something that is taking place within the Progressive Liberal Party.
So you think there are some rumblings and stirrings within the PLP?
There has been on public WhatsApp chat, not in PLP groups, on public WhatsApp chat, there is PLP factions fighting against each other as it relates to one faction for the Deputy Prime Minister and another faction.
But where would you think that even came from, Ellington? Because it's the PLP, it keeps its business in-house. It's done a good job at that for a while now, up to now. But so then, people say, well, there's smoke, there's fire. So where did that come from, that Jo Beth Colby Davis is somehow interested in the deputy leader position?
And that is my point. So you have persons within the ranks of the party that is proffering these ideas about Jo Beth for deputy leader. I even heard one that recently called themselves joining the party, speaking also to the point of her becoming the next female prime minister, which is disrespectful, in my opinion.
No, stop.
And so within the ranks of the party, and I hear all the public statement from the prime minister, from Chester Cooper, Honorable Chester Cooper, and Minister Colby Davis, these public statements about the mischief in the papers and all that, but I think there needs some work to be done within the ranks of the party. These individuals that are members of the Progressive Liberal Party.
So it's PLP is putting this narrative out there.
The PLP is putting this on a public forum.
On public. So then how can you dismiss it?
How could you dismiss it?
So I think the statements from Jo Beth Colby Davis and Prime Minister Davis must be stronger. Stronger to say, listen, we have our leadership. We are a team that's united. We are focused. There is at no point between now and 2026 any consideration, any extension, or any way that this position will be up for some sort of election.
You've got to do two things. Number one, denounce the calls or the discussion on social media. And two, those persons are not just distant supporters. These are close supporters of the party that are doing these things. I think they should be called in close discussions and say, listen, this needs to stop.
Because we know sometimes, supporters can be rabid supporters and be mischievous on their own. And so if it's what they're doing, then as you say,
if you support
call them,
me, I need to say to you, hey, listen, I ain't with that. I ain't down for that. Cut it out, stop it. And if you're not doing that and you're allowing it to go on, like you said, Shanique, maybe where there is smoke, there is fire.
Yeah, because it looks sloppy. It looks sloppy. I asked you about who's battle ready within the PLP, and because they're the government. Listen, guys, this is not my first news show that I've hosted, and I'll tell you this every time. It is the government or the administration in the chair who is most accountable, most facing the heat from shows like this. You see it all over the world. You guys love the American shows. You watch it because why? They hold the administration in the chair into higher account.
Absolutely.
Who? One person in the FNM who's battle ready as an MP right now.
The Right Honorable Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis is battle ready and will win his seat.
You ought to stir things right up. You hear the man you hear he even touch on the shoulder, and yet you're gonna say he is the only FNM battle ready.
And will win his seat.
And will win his seat.
Oh yes.
I hope you all hear that. I asked him who in the FNM, who? He said, Dr. Hubert Minnis, Kalani MP, battle ready. Ellington Ferguson, it's always enjoyable. Thank you very much. Thank you. Never rehearsed, never influenced by me. None of that. These are true opinions, expressing your views, your thoughts, and the individual's thoughts. So therefore, that's how it just remains so good and clean that way. We have much more to talk about, obviously, moving forward. I thank you very much. Listen, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, Pastors Patrice Smith and Carol Moss join me, and they are talking about one of President Trump's executive orders. You don't want to miss it. We're back in a moment.
Bahamas, are you ready? 2025. Keep the Bible Live Music Group present KB. Boy, you don't know me yet. It's KB. KB and friends. The Boatman Show.
All you Rick and Straight lovers out there, Saturday, February 1st, Keep the Bible Live Music Group invites you out to enjoy some Bahamian culture.
With Colette.
KB and Friends in concert, The Boatman Show.
Saturday, February 1st at the Farm, Marshall Road.
Can't wait to see you there.
The legendary KB and Friends. John Sodden, Sweet Emily, plus Gino D, Colin McDonald, Irish Store in the Spank Band, Falcons, Ancient Man, Mama D, Shine, 242 and more.
KB and Friends in concert at the Farm, Saturday, February 1st.
Tickets on sale at the Beauty Shack. Low location, General 50, VIP 80. And for the Platinum fans, exclusive skyboxes are available. Gates open at 7 p.m. For more info, call ESC Distributors at 394-0819. Let's keep the Bible alive.
On behalf of the entire flight crew and Western Air, we hope that you enjoyed your flight, and we look forward to serving you in the near future.
At the Water and Sewage Corporation, safety and convenience are our top priorities. However, our meter readers face challenges that can make their job difficult. Locked gates to guard dogs sometimes leads to missed readings and estimated bills, which can be frustrating for you and us. That's why we're upgrading to digital meters. They bring safety, accuracy, and convenience to homes across the Bahamas. We can streamline data collection, reduce on-site visits, and provide more accurate bills with no more estimates. Digital meters also help detect leaks early, saving you from costly bills and reducing water waste. Soon, a user-friendly app will let you track your water usage, manage bills, and stay informed, all at your fingertips. Over the next year, we're rolling out digital meters nationwide, transforming how we serve you with a safer and cost-efficient water supply. To learn about our digital meters, visit our website or call us today. And don't forget to update your information at any of our locations.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation?
You mean the Ministry of Tourism?
No, that ain't the same thing, but the Tourism Development Corporation helps develop and grow Bahamian businesses in the tourism industry. You hear what they say, boy?
Oh, yeah.
Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things saying do?
What does do?
Hey, check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, many people around the world have been paying close attention to President Trump's more than 200 executive orders. You all saw those orders were signed really hours after he was sworn in as president on Monday in front of hundreds, in fact, thousands of supporters at a stadium there in Washington, D.C. And it was to show them that many of the campaign promises, if not all of the issues he campaigned on, he meant business. Well, I'll tell you this. While Bahamians are paying attention to the immigration executive order and so many others, of course, cost of bringing down the cost of living and just a number of other things that's on the table, one executive order that they are paying attention to that has so many moving parts, really, is the executive order that President Trump has been campaigned very heavily on to appeal to the conservative, to appeal to the evangelicals, to appeal to many persons. And that is saying that he is going to right what he feels has been a wrong over the last handful of years of just gender and this whole argument and discussion about gender and the fact that it's become quite blurred of who is a man and who is a woman and all these other various pronouns that we have seen surfaced over the last handful of years. Before we get into tonight's discussion, I would like for you to hear, this also happened on Monday during one of the many church services. I'd like for you to hear from a church service and an American bishop, a female bishop, who called on President Trump to show mercy as he obviously begins his tenure. Take a listen and then we'll come back and we'll get into it.
My pronouns are he, him, his. I have the privilege of serving as the pastor of Broadway United Methodist Church in downtown Orlando.
I don't think I'll ever understand how they can constantly mock Christianity, but have a mental breakdown if I don't support their lifestyle. Because it's all about tolerance, inclusion, and equality, unless if you're a straight Christian male or female who has a different point of view, because that makes sense.
The U.S. government only recognizing two genders, male, female, they're unchangeable. If elected as prime minister, is that something that you're going to kind of walk in line with, or what are your feelings on that executive order?
Well, I don't know. Do you have any other genders that you'd like to name?
Me personally?
Yes.
I'm just asking more so if you're in line with what he is saying. Do you agree with what he's saying? Is that something that you would be lockstep with if elected as prime minister?
Well, I'm not aware of any other genders than men and women. I mean, if you have any other that you want me to consider, you're welcome to tell me right now.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. The people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
In a statement on his Truth Social account, President Trump responded, "The so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a giant crime wave that is taking place in the USA. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was a very boring and uninspiring one. She is not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology."
There you have it. So all of that, not even a week, all of that has taken place really in the last, say, day or two. It's now been 72 hours, 3 days since Monday, that President Trump was sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. And he got to, as I said a moment ago, he got to work very, very quickly in showing that he is not going to drag his feet or stall on many of these issues that he campaigned hard on. Issues, surprisingly, that many people are surprised to see that overwhelmingly America supports. And not just America. You saw in that clip someone who's vying to be Prime Minister of Canada himself, Canada that's been very, very far left, coming to the middle and basically saying, yep, gender, when it comes to gender, man and woman. And that's kind of happening all over the world. Well, in the Bahamas, as you know, Bahamians have been very, very keen and watching very closely this election, the campaign trail. Of course, many of the promises, many in support of it. Many Bahamians attended the inauguration, but many, again, are excited about what they saw some of those executive orders to mean and what they will also come to mean in the years as we move forward under a Trump administration. And so I'll tell you, two women who in particular have been very, very vocal about, for example, just the indoctrination that was happening, about the agenda that was being pushed by the Biden-Harris administration, and now are applauding President Trump for doing exactly as he's doing and for obviously not being deterred by enforcing many of those executive orders, many of those areas, and a respect for value again, a respect for family again. As somebody said live from Washington on this show on Monday evening, common sense governance is back. And so we're going to get started this evening right there. Please welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Right here, sitting next to me, Prophetess Patrice Smith, and of course, Pastor Carol Moss.
Thank you.
Pastors, good evening to both of you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Bahamas. Good to be back, Shanique. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. You both, and you know what? You both look like the New Year. I tell you that. These bright colors.
Thank you so much.
And listen, I know that you all have been very, very obviously keen, as most of the world was really, and still is, watching what happens in the United States, what's transpired, and all the rest of it. And even more keen to pay attention to a lot of what is now policy for this Trump administration. Well, did you watch the inauguration and just his initial speech and your thoughts on that before we get into some discussions here?
Well, Shanique, if I can start off a little bit this evening, and again, Happy New Year, Bahamas. Listen, I was really so captivated by this inauguration, in particular, President Trump's speech. Now, some people may disagree with me, it doesn't matter, but I am going to say in at least the last probably 40 years that I've been following American politics and inaugurations, I believe that President Trump's speech this year was one of the best. If it was superseded by any, it would probably be President Ronald Reagan. I was surprised at the meat of the speech, the amount of meat that was in it. I was surprised also at his temperament, his delivery. I'm seeing a different Trump. This Trump is surprising me, you know? And it tells me...
Very measured.
Yes.
Very much a different person.
Yes. To a certain degree, very, it's almost like he's had an epiphany, if I can use that term. And so I do believe that the world is in for a good ride these next 4 years. But I'm excited some of the things that came out that are going to be pressed into policy. And again, like most of the world is saying, in particular, those of us that follow the Republican Party, we are now back to common sense. The world is now coming back to common sense. You know, that's what I want to say.
You know, pastors, another thing that people are saying too, he is really making God sort of the center, as America had it as its foundation, Pastor Moss.
Absolutely.
He is really making God the center of it all. People were surprised that in that inauguration speech, his first official speech as president, here it is, he made very clear he was saved after having an attempt, in fact, 2 on his life during the campaign. He was saved.
Yes.
God saved him.
That's right.
To make America great again.
Yes.
Well, Shanique, I'm so excited. And I want to use the words Trump used, by executive order. That means that trumps everything. And so, Shanique, we are dealing with a strong system that persons were afraid to rise up against. They were afraid to touch it because this system and this community is very narcissistic in their ways.
My Lord.
And they are very deadly in their ways based on the powers that be. And so when Trump began to, by executive order, was not afraid, because God says, I have not given you the spirit of fear, but love, power, and a sound mind. So when he began to rise to the occasion and say what's supposed to happen and put things in order, I was so elated. And those who had a problem before had to drop back, because why? It said by executive order. And so, Shanique, I loved how God was at the forefront of every decision making to make again America great again, and bringing the moral compass of America back to what the Bible says. And so I'm very excited for what's happening in America.
So ladies, let's look at the video that I showed at the top of our segment. You saw a pastor initially who says, listen, he's a gay pastor, in the city of Orlando, and you know, hey, God loves us all. And then you saw the bishop in one of those inauguration services who said, President Trump, people are afraid. People are actually afraid of your policies, of what you intend to do, of the fact that, listen, you've got trans kids and the various people in the LGBT community who are saying that you're so unfriendly. Let's deal with that before we go to the fact that she also brought on there to have him have mercy on illegal immigrants.
My Lord.
So let's just talk about how she feels. Is this hard-nosed approach and something that stands what President Trump has said on biblical principles on making right again, not to attack an adult's choice and what an adult has the constitutional right to do with his or her life, but to protect the sanctity of family and children and to guard them. But do you think that that's a scary thing, that truly people in America have reason to feel fearful?
But let me touch this. One, Shanique, this bishop, Marion, is completely out of order. That's one. Because the Bible says, as a priest or a pastor, we are to defend the orphan, we are to defend the widow, and we are to defend the poor. There's no way from a holy pulpit that we are to defend the LGBT community. There's no way. Right? So once she's out of order. And so right there, that's an indictment against what the Word of God says. She should not even by scripture should be saying those kind of things. Secondly, we talk about a narcissistic community, a demonic community, a demonic system that is coming down. Before, they were so arrogant and rude, and whoever rose against them, they would attack them. Now all of a sudden you are afraid. What are you afraid of? When no one defended the church, no one said anything now, because why? You were so strong in your belief and what you believe in. So now from the pulpit, a sacred desk, you are desecrating all these things. And so Shanique, I had a great problem with this woman who seems to be a dyke in the house of God and speaking something that she should not have. And that's why God is going to line up his church. He's going to raise up men and women who's going to bring order back to the church by executive order.
I love that. What are you preaching up in here today? Well, Shanique, I want to say one thing. Now, it appears to me that she may be a part of the LGBTQIA community. I could be wrong. It just appears to me. But like Pastor Carol said, what she said to a certain degree may be right in asking for mercy. However, it was not the right time. It was not the right place.
Correct.
And so that is what makes it out of order. Now, I do believe that this woman could have asked for a personal meeting with the president. I don't think that he would have denied it.
Correct.
But very important, you said something very important, Pastor Carol, that if we are going to advocate for anything as pastors, remember now, we are representatives of God. And then so therefore, whatever we say, whatever we do has to be in line with his word.
Yes.
So the mere mention that she said these people may be illegal, she already said they've done something wrong.
They're non-Christian.
Let's just stay on the whole trans thing that first.
Yes. Okay. So let's go back. Because we are representatives of God, we have to now represent his word.
Correct.
What does his word say about the LGBTQ community? What does his word say about those who break the law?
That's right.
Yes, of course, the Bible speaks of sanctuary cities, but at the same time, we are to uphold the law of the nation, of the country. And so I think that because she wanted to take advantage of this opportunity because she realized that she would have had a greater exposure. And so therefore, I don't believe foundationally, I don't believe that her motives were right. Now, that's my personal opinion. I believe that it's false humility that she's operating in. And I think because of that, yes, like President Trump says, she owes the nation an apology.
But it was, and ladies, it was America had moved to a place where you saw in the video clip, because it's a combined video clip that we played a minute ago. America had moved to a place where, yes, sure, the LGBT had its right to speak and to be seen and to be heard.
And to be equal.
Anyone that had a different point of view were the chastised.
Right. So
were the ones who were attacked.
Right. So now, why you didn't fight then? But now, because you
there was no need because they had every right.
Exactly. And the powers that be was supporting this demonic system.
Right.
But now that system is coming down.
Absolutely.
Now the church fights for the poor, the orphan and the widow, not the LGBT community, not the queer community, not those who sleep with men and women with women. We don't support that crap.
But listen,
the Bible speaks against it.
Not just that, Shanique, she addressed the wrong person.
Yes.
You know, sometimes they say, okay, Trump is acting like a god. Well, you address Trump as if he was a god. If you're asking for mercy for a group of people, then you should approach God himself as his representative. You should have said, I pray to God that these persons would find mercy in the swing of things and all of the changes and the policies, new policies that will be enacted. Father, I pray that you show mercy. And the mercy should first be extended to the salvation of their souls. The mercy should not be extended to laws being made that would keep them in the lifestyle that they are in.
Correct.
Now, another person can advocate that, but not a representative of God.
That's right.
You are a pastor.
Correct.
And so therefore you have to be careful. You are a bishop. And the Episcopal Church or the Anglican Church most certainly is one of the top churches in the world, not just in the United States.
Correct.
And so therefore it tells me then, what is the stand that even the Episcopal or Anglican Church is taking as it pertains to the LGBTQIA community?
Her motives were wrong.
So her motives were definitely wrong. And like I said, that false humility that she was operating in, most certainly those of us who are in the spirit could discern it. So young lady, I'm going to call you young lady or middle-aged lady, whatever, you are out of order. Bishop Marion Edgar Budd, you are out of order. Please. And I was told that she's done something like this before.
Well, she was quite happy to be
apologize. That's what you need to do.
She was quite happy to be trending because she went on several shows. She went on several shows after that to talk about how she intentionally, brought it up, and it was the right place for her. She thought it was the right timing. But listen,
went on The View and on CNN and all that other place. Your motives are wrong.
Well, left-leaning media. But another thing she brought up was also America stumps me with this one because we know what it is to be faced with a huge population of illegal immigrants and the burden it presents. Well, even though America is as a nation with perhaps $1 trillion economy or GDP, the point about it is though that they too are burdened, not just by the strain of the illegal immigration, which also aids their economy, but that's a different topic. The fact is, we have seen recently that there have been so many heinous crimes committed.
Absolutely.
And therefore, that's why the illegal immigrant has become front and center and cleaning them out of the nation. I want to know what you all think of that, because last evening on this show, I spoke with a U.S. immigration attorney. We discussed it from that aspect of what Bahamians are thinking over there and people of the region and others from other places around the world. And also we came locally and discussed it. I want to see what you all think about that, because she also asked for leniency there.
Right.
So we're going to talk about that when we come back. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're going to have much more right after this.
Yes.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance Management. Nobody does it better.
Cashmas time, here we go. Mercy's doing it big this year. Cashmas time with extra chair. 12 days of merry winnings from your friends at Island Day. Friends we trust, yeah we know. Cashmas time, here we go. Prizes and lots of dough. This Christmas, come catch a lick with 20 on your account. Quick, quick, quick. And you can win some awesome stuff at Percy's Island Day. Yeah.
Bahamas, are you ready? 2025. Keep the Bible Live Music Group present KB. Boy, you don't know me yet.
What's KB?
KB and Friends. The Boatman Show.
All you Rick and Scrape lovers out there, Saturday, February 1st, Keep the Bible Live Music Group invites you out to enjoy some Bahamian culture.
With Collect.
KB and Friends in concert, The Boatman Show.
Saturday, February 1st at the Farm, Marshall Road.
Can't wait to see you there.
The legendary KB and Friends. Just added Sweet Emily, plus Tino D, Colin McDonald, Irish Store in the Spank Man, The Falcons, Ancient Man, Mama D, Shine 242 and more.
KB and Friends in concert at the Farm, Saturday, February 1st.
Tickets on sale at the Beauty Shack. Low location, General 50, VIP 80. And for the Platinum fans, exclusive skyboxes are available. Gates open at 7 p.m. For more info, call ESC Distributors at 394-0819. Let's keep the vibe alive.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, this evening we are looking at President Trump's inauguration, his first speech, and the more than 200 executive orders from a different point of view, a different perspective this evening. And that perspective, of course, is from the eyes of the church. You all know Bahamians, the nation over, and not only Bahamians, but we have spent considerable time here on Beyond the Headlines discussing so many issues that came up on the campaign trail. In fact, even before the campaign, the U.S. election campaign campaigns began, we discussed many things. That agenda that is so destructive to the sanctity of marriage and family and what we know family to be. And the fact that for a moment, the world had gone wild because it was all these various pronouns you had to try, learn, adapt to. And if you didn't, then you were homophobic, every other phobic there was. Well, Donald Trump, in winning the U.S. presidency, galvanized the majority, obviously, to say, no, bring this back to the middle. Again, no one is taking the constitutional rights of an adult away from him or her, but do not attack and assault children the way that has been done, that we've been seeing in the last few years by what we've seen played out. Remember the drag reading shows and the drag dances in front of preschoolers? Yes. Remember all that stuff that was happening? Well, that's now been sorted. Another area, of course, that the bishop who asked Trump for mercy on trans kids and the community, another thing she addressed, she said, listen, President, not so fast. Illegal immigrants also need a bit of mercy, and the reason they need mercy is because, perhaps they're what they have been through, and we know the crimes and all that, but you must kind of sort of maybe a case-by-case basis, she's asking, not sure. But ladies, welcome back, by the way, Pastors Patrice Smith and Carol Moss.
Good to be here.
Last evening, as I told you all before the break, I had an immigration attorney from the United States here on the show. I also localized it with former Immigration Minister and Attorney Branville McCartney after that interview, that segment. But what do you all think about the fact that the U.S. is trying, as Trump said, and many other nations now screaming for it, hey man, put us first. We're the indigenous citizens of said nation.
Yeah. Right.
So that is what he's doing. So he's saying particularly illegal immigrants who are criminals got to go.
Yeah.
Your thoughts about that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know the United States started out as a migrant nation. We all know, of course, that the founders of America, as it were, and I'm talking about as far as the established founders, we know the people were already there, but they came or they fled the United Kingdom, England, in search of religious freedom. And so, of course, we understand that every nation at some point in time is going to have migration. The whole idea, though, and I think what President Trump is saying, is that whatever migration comes into the United States, we want it to be legal.
Yeah.
We want it to be done the right way. Now persons who are, hopping up against this and saying, oh, he's harsh and oh, he's wrong.
Yeah.
But if you ask them about their particular nation, if you ask Bahamians, are you down with illegal immigration in this country? The majority of Bahamians would tell you no.
No.
So why then would we expect Donald Trump to accept all levels of illegal migration into the United States? No. Every process of migration has to be legal. It has to be done the right way. There are persons who came into the United States, they came legally, they got their green card, got their residency, got their citizenship the right way, and they are productive citizens. This is all President Donald Trump is saying. Let's uniform it. Let's make sure we are aware of who's coming in our country. I was surprised the other day when I looked at something about Venezuela. Would you understand and would you know that the crime in Venezuela has gone down? Venezuela now, what used to be almost a heinous society, crime is reducing in Venezuela.
And why? And why?
Because those immigrants, illegal immigrants from Venezuela are coming into the United States.
No, not coming.
Into Canada.
Not coming.
They are already there. But I'm talking about, well, he already closed the border.
Yeah.
But they are already there due to the incompetence of the former President Joe Biden. Yeah. And so therefore, nothing is wrong with the U.S. trying to protect itself. Nothing is wrong with the Bahamas trying to protect itself. Yeah. Matter of fact, we need to deal with our illegal immigration issues here in the Bahamas. We need to deal with it, take a hand of it or hold of it, and work with it, because we will then be overrun. We only 300 and something thousand people. The U.S. is only over 300 million. So therefore, they are now at the point where the Lord has allowed a president to come in that would begin to protect the borders of the United States, begin to protect the boundaries of the United States. And you said it right. Those who are organically and indigenously American should profit first before everybody else.
And I do agree, Prophetess, that when it comes down to Bishop Marion, it looks like anything that's illegal or that's wrong, she supports. Now, the illegal immigrant, I think that every land has those who are supposed to have an inheritance. that the land is your inheritance.
Absolutely.
It is made for those who are born in the land. What I like what Trump did was he also said, anything before the executive order that's legal, that would stand those who born, he would make sure it's standing. Anything after that, then he enforces the law for those who are not legal, will have to leave. And I totally agree. Now I understand justice, and we after human rights, and so I understand that. And so I'm kind of, iffy. But again, the land is for the people who are born in the land. First.
Yeah.
We have the first right to the inheritance of the land. And then afterwards, so I do agree that if you're illegal, you're doing things illegal, you must go back to your land. And after that, then everything else will be sorted out.
And the thing about it, if you're coming into a country illegally, you should have as much sense to go, I call it, underground. But you got to come illegally into a country, and then you're going to commit crime, what they call migrant crime. You're crazy.
Listen, guys.
And so,
listen, guys, ladies, listen, ladies, right?
Yes.
We know it's been horrible what we've seen played out in the U.S. In fact, scary, especially if your family living there as well.
Of course.
So you see, for example, and it's been determined an illegal immigrant went and lit a woman on fire who was asleep on the subway.
Train, the subway. That's right.
And that's just one.
Yeah.
Others went and took kids, got into homes, broke through the security system and kidnapped kids or teenagers and killed them. It's just been a number of ugly, heinous crimes that have been linked to illegal immigrants that they want to say, listen, come, go back
You
to
gotta
your
go
house.
back.
Also something that Bahamians, you mentioned Bahamians, right? Bahamians are paying attention to.
Because you got some of them over there illegal too.
Well, many. But listen,
they better come home before they get deported.
No, but listen to this one. Here's what else will be. I don't know if it can be entirely stopped, but hey, certainly decreased, because we know we want American babies, right?
Oh Lord.
So this tourism citizenship, or meaning that B1, F1 visa type thing, or if you are,
migrant tourism,
it's migrant tourism, and also if you have, the other word escapes me at the moment, it's another type of sort of birthright citizenship, that if you live in the U.S., you're illegal, but you give birth, your kid is automatic a U.S. citizen, that too is now being
on the
halted.
table.
It's being halted.
And it's going to go to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, well, they can fight it all they want, but again, this is something that has been passed by executive order. And so certainly, of course, a number of things to watch. Now, ladies, something else that we will be watching, because I remember we had some shows on it, not just last year either. This is from a few years ago, when the U.S. Charge d'Affaires, who was here at the moment, not the one that's on her way out, the one before that, another female, was happily and flaunted in our faces that she is going to put up the flag pride, the pride flag in the month of Pride, and the Bahamas, and dare the Bahamas say anything about it. In fact, the Bahamas said nothing about it. The Christian Council or no other council said anything about it except here on this show. Well, President Trump says, listen, respect nations. First of all, it's not going to happen on no U.S. federal building or on U.S. embassy. However, though, respect nations where nations are. And this is all we ever wanted,
Absolutely.
What the norms and the laws and sort of the general consensus and majority mindset is and beliefs of a nation is, when you step into that nation, be guided by those and respect the nation, because you will not go into any Muslim country and do such.
They won't do it.
Now, so your thoughts on this, that he says only the U.S. flag is to be flown on a U.S. embassy anywhere in the world.
Let me say something. When Kamala Harris came here, she came here to manipulate this country and our government.
Not manipulation.
Right? Manipulation.
Okay.
And then she told the LGBT queer gentleman that we're here for you, transgender. And then all of a sudden, they flew the flag in the Bahamas when that flag is minute. That should not even be flown in our country. Right then, that was wrong. And we as a Christian nation, nor the Christian Council, nor any pastor, rose up and spoke up against this.
We did, Carol.
Well, we did.
Yes.
But I'm talking about the powers that be.
Yes, and I said outside of this platform, nobody said anything.
The ones that you expected to stand up and speak out against it.
The powers that be said nothing. And so Kamala Harris came here and she manipulated. But again, when God wants to do something, he will bring down that system. And so I had a real problem with that flag being flown in a country that is saying that we are a Christian people and a Christian nation. And so now I thank God that our government must hear the orders and pull that flag down.
No, not our government. Our government had nothing to do with that.
Oh, not about the flag being thrown in the Bahamas.
No.
Oh, okay.
That was simply a U.S. embassy charged a fair decision.
So we have nothing to say about it?
Driven, and we have nothing, obviously. Driven and ordered and directed by those in authority at the time and in power. And so therefore, fly a flag. They could care less about what the nation, that particular nation believed.
Shanique, most certainly, and I want to address it from this standpoint, and I'm not in agreement, I'm just saying, wherever U.S. Embassies are or U.S. Bases are, they consider that American
their property.
Territory.
That's American.
Absolutely.
Yes, American
That's why Bahamians don't know. When you go beyond U.S. immigration, even in our airport, you are on another territory.
You're in America.
And so, hence, that was the impetus and that was their reasoning. That was their argument, that even though they are in the Bahamas, that is U.S. territory.
Right.
But this is what I want to address. Embassies come into a country to better relations between the country that they are in and the country that they came from. And so therefore I am quite sure that the charge d'affaires and those who are in high level in the United States Embassy here in the Bahamas, I am quite sure that they are well aware of the culture of the Bahamas.
Correct.
They are not here ignorantly. And anything the U.S. wants to know, they will find out.
Right.
And so therefore, I look at it this way. I think it was a slap in our face. I think it was a disrespect to Bahamians.
Yes.
Because we are a Christian nation by constitution.
Wow.
And so therefore, to fly that pride flag. And what bothers me is that the pride flag is not even a major flag.
No.
How can you fly a major flag against your flag?
Yeah.
I can see the American Embassy flying their flag and then the Bahamian flag.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use this word very loosely, how in the hell can you fly a pride flag in the Bahamas against the United States? Y'all are out of order. And then so I am so happy that President Trump is in. And guess what?
Order.
See, sometimes, everything rises and falls on leadership, When you got weak leadership in, the enemy will have his way and you will have chaos.
And let me add to that
but let me finish. Okay. But because Trump is a strong leader, trust me, things are going to fall in place and you're going to see the domino effect.
Yeah.
And Carol and I, of course, we spoke out, my goodness, we spoke out vehemently from the very first time that they put those flags or that flag up there. Because I used to live through the area where the embassy is. I lived through Sanford Drive. And so therefore every time, listen Shanique, every time I pass that embassy, I curse that flag in Jesus' name. I curse the devil and everybody behind him in the name of Jesus. And so now Trump is in.
Not just that. You can't do it in Dubai. You said,
absolutely.
You cannot
do it in Saudi Arabia. Absolutely.
You cannot.
You can't do it in Iraq and you can't do it in Iran.
You can get away with it. That's why you did it.
Absolutely.
Understand? But again, by executive order.
You got a word there.
I thank you.
Amen.
She looked like she's making it a sermon for Sunday. Ladies, I thank you. I wanted to get into the style of the Trump administration. We have seen that the Trump ladies are on it. I'll tell you this, and they have ushered in a classy, very sophisticated, very demure look to the White House and to the national sort of flavor. It's changing. It's morphing into what they stand for and what they bring in. Again, I just wanted to get your views because I know that you both are extremely passionate and watched very intently what took place during the campaign season. Obviously, these executive orders, the inauguration, the speeches, and obviously now this presidency. We will continue to pay attention to. I thank you both once again for being here. Good to see you both. Happy New Year to you both.
You're welcome.
Yes. And
thank you.
I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. Certainly enjoyed having you along. And we look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.